KATC Weather Lab. Here's Rob's forecast.
Welcome back. Well, pretty active radar late this afternoon. That's going to carry into this evening, but activity quieting down. But tomorrow, another day where we're going to see active thunderstorms and pretty good coverage across the area. So keep the rain gear handy. I would expect more splash and dash action at least the next day, possibly 2 days, before things quiet down a little bit toward the end of the week. So let's take a look at the big picture outside. Again, got sunshine and the clouds earlier in the day. Not much shower activity going on, but then that really kicked up later this afternoon. So let's put the radar in motion. Well, first off, we'll look at the infrared satellite imagery. You can see the storms kind of rumbling and bumbling across the area, moving generally from the northwest to the southeast, all associated with a upper level trough weak frontal boundary off to the north of us that's going to drop southward. It's mainly going to be an upper level feature and then eventually gets into the Gulf for a day or two and then moves to the west toward Texas, and that'll eventually bring in drier air as we go into Thursday and Friday. But near term, you can see it on the infrared water vapor imagery. Very disturbed area aloft, spanning back through Texas. And this is all dropping southward. And what this mainly has is a little bit colder air aloft, makes the atmosphere a little bit more unstable and gets the storms going earlier in the day. So tomorrow, the onset of storms should be much earlier than today in most areas. But still some active storms. Northwestern sections of Acadiana late this afternoon into eastern portions of Vernon Parish, and then most activity that was in St. Landry and St. Martin Parish is pushed off to the east and northeast, moving into the basin now just northeast of the Henderson area, but still locally heavy downpours and a lot of cloud to ground lightning showing with these cells from Kaplan all the way up through Crowley. Heavy downpours here in Acadia Parish, just from about the Esterwood area on eastward, maybe some localized street flooding in Crowley, especially on the south side of town where we're seeing these big raindrops, maybe even a little pea-sized hail, but that indicates that these storms are heavy and putting down an inch or two of rain in about a 30-minute time frame, so you could have some localized street flooding. But again, gradually dissipating as the evening wears on, and then you can see that activity down toward the Kaplan area. Farther to the east we go, we're still seeing some scattered activity edging into St. Mary Parish as we speak. And again, we're going to continue to see most of this action through the evening hours as we open it back on up and look at the big picture here. So it's going to be active for several more hours, but things will quiet down as we get closer to about 8 o'clock or so. And that's what we indicate on the forecast model here, the high resolution rapid refresh model. Starting tomorrow off quiet, but notice storms are going to be gathering in the northern part of the state and then dropping southward through the mid-afternoon hours and into the afternoon hours. They're going to stick around for a while, so this is going to keep the clouds locked in, temperatures closer to the low to mid 80s for highs, and then as we head into tomorrow night, things quiet down. Wednesday, lingering storms, but not as many as what we're expecting for tomorrow. So as for rainfall, localized amounts, so we'll be in the 1 to 2 inch category. Some spots don't get a whole lot, and again, this is going to change. The risk of heaviest rains and maybe some localized flooding will be centered in the northern to central part of the state of Louisiana. Meanwhile, in the tropical world, the tropical waves of note, one coming off the African coast. I think this one's going to bear watching down the line, has plenty of potential for development. Another tropical wave, not much of a future, but this moisture and instability is heading for the Bahamas and could impact Florida as well before getting pushed out to sea. Meanwhile, on the Pacific side of things, two tropical storms, Flossie and Eric, both promise to become hurricanes, and Eric is probably going to go south of the Hawaiian Islands with time as at least a tropical storm, so we'll be watching this systems for our friends in the west. Meanwhile, no other areas of concern in the western Caribbean or the Gulf of Mexico. We'll just have to keep an eye on these frontal troughs that get down to the Gulf and maybe sit and spin for a couple of days, but don't see any issues over the next week to 10 days for our part of the Gulf. So thunderstorms ending early this evening, high humidity to follow, temperatures low to mid 70s tonight. Tomorrow, back up to a 70% chance of storms, some locally heavy downpours. Prime time for activity, 10 in the morning to 5 o'clock in the afternoon. 83 the high tomorrow. We'll keep it in the 80s for Wednesday. Hey, anytime you can keep it below 90 degrees in July, you're doing well. Can't last forever. Back into the lower 90s toward the end of the week with rain chances down to 20%. Right now, the weekend looks like a typical summer weekend. No major issues. Could see another blip in those thunderstorms and more thunderstorms thunderstorms a week from today down the road. But up and down rain chances, which is so typical this time of year.
It sure is. That thunder today in Lafayette was pretty loud.
Yes, pretty loud, and you could hear lightning arcing up from the tower before the lightning exchange
Okay,
occurred.
that's what that was?
Yes, you hear a little crack before the main crack of the lightning bolt. So it's pretty cool stuff.
Very good. Thanks, Rob.